And first we'll do our pledge of allegiance. To the flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great, and Courtney and Noreen are joining us remotely, so I will remember to check their remote link. Grant is not able to join us today. All right, and we do want to move up one item in the agenda.
Yep, I am going to make a motion to move up the under correspondence item number 1, the East Windsor Police Department SRO status. I'm going to move that up to the added agenda item.
Just because we have some guests who are joining us today. So Heather's made a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Yep. All right, seconded by Denise. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, so we can go ahead. You intro.
Sure. So obviously, I think everyone here knows these two gentlemen as far as the chief and deputy chief. We greatly appreciate our partnership. And it's a strong partnership at that with the PD. Certainly in your correspondence, you have a letter giving an update on their SRO position. Anticipation that there may be questions from board members. The chief and deputy chief are kind enough to be in attendance for this agenda item.
Do you want to ask questions, or are they going to?
Give you a quick update if you want, if you don't mind. So, I'm sure you're aware that there's a MOU between the police department and the school. There's a last section of the MOU that I referenced in the letter that you can see. It's I guess it would be Article 13, but it's the last paragraph. And it talks about suspension of the program in the event that we had some type of issue. I don't think it talks about an emergency in there, but so as you guys know, there's a couple factors that are in play. One of them is the collective bargaining unit with the officers. And so Officer Lindsay, she's left the agency. Her term would have been up this coming year anyways. In actuality, it was probably like October. We've had an SRO in the school for many years, as you know. It has had success, but it's been choppy. And some of it is the interruption of the service between the employee that we've assigned there. We've had some of them leave in the middle of the program. Some of the medical issues are pregnancy, like that had there. So she left. Her last day with us was July 11th. I knew ahead of time that she was looking like she was leaving. We made a determination to write the letter to superintendent that we want to suspend the program. And in no way do we want to get rid of the program. We're not trying to terminate the program. Well, we have an employee issue. And so the collective bargaining agreement and our officers being so young, you have to be on the agency for 2 years before you can take a special assignment, which the SRO program is. There's one person that's interested in the police department at the police department now that is interested in the SRO program. But we would have to go through the process of the interview, and we have a joint interview with the school and ourselves, and we decided they're a good fit. However, that person wouldn't be eligible because of a medical status, she's pregnant, to be in the school until January. So we would lose that whole time between now and January, and I can't put her in a training for the SRO program. So we would start in January and it would be an interruption of the service. So Deputy Chief and I met with Superintendent Tudrin. We talked about this as being a potential option, I think back in maybe May or something like that. And I wanted to project to him because I think we have a great working relationship. But there are some deficiencies that the deputy chief and I have noted, we've noticed, and we want to fix moving forward. So what I want to do is suspend it for a year. I want to identify in the next year we'll have a hiring process. There will be another year will go by. There will be more officers eligible. Not that the one that's not eligible now wouldn't be a good fit. We can't put them in there until January because they're physically not going to be at work. It would be more of a competition, more of a base that we could look at. And in that period of time, I want to work with the deputy chief, and I want to work with the administration to talk about some of the frustrations, or I would say the things that are moving forward. For me, I want the SRO to have more of a presence in the school. And so the police officers that work for us, as everybody knows, and I preach it to the choir, they're not just police officers. Because we're a small agency, they wear many, many hats. So Officer Valencia was a training officer. She did the DARE, which was school related. She was an SRO, and she was hiring and a few other things. We don't want that moving forward. Our SRO in the school needs to be dedicated to the school, and there's one for 3 schools and moving around. So that being said, that's the issue. Moving forward, we're not abandoning the presence in the school. So I'm going to defer to the deputy chief, who's already had conversations with our lieutenants, the expectation moving forward, the idea that we would use Officer Sam Sanchez as our community police officer. She's already in the school. She's the officer with lady. She does the juvenile review board, and she's going to work with the YSB. So she's familiar with a lot of the players that work cohesively together. But the deputy is working with patrol to have a function on how we're going to address some of those issues, and I'll let him take over from there.
Thanks, Chief. So speaking with both the lieutenants, kind of just crafted the idea of how we wanted this to look moving forward until we could, supplement a full-time SRO as it comes back. One of the functions of our community service officer is going to be basically our adjunct SRO. And that doesn't mean, we're not supplanting her into the school, because clearly that's what we want moving forward. But her expectations are first and foremost that she starts her day with coming to our station, getting a car, and her next stop is East Windsor High School. And basically her directive is you're going to be going in, you're going to check with the secretary, she's going to check with the security director, Nelson, who just on a side note for you all to understand, Nelson and I have an incredibly good relationship. I'm on the phone with him once a week. And so again, there's none of that. So it's the security stuff. I'm not remotely concerned with him. You're very fortunate to have a person of that caliber inside your schools. And also checking in with the principal. So is there something that's pending that we need to be addressing? We are running, as you know, a whole bunch of programs in the schools. We have a mentoring program we started last year. We're going to be doing the weightlifting again with the kids. Some police officers are going to be now the DARE programs to read across America. So there's no drop off of police when we're wanted and when we're needed in there. In regards to Broadbrook Elementary and the middle school, the sector officers first stop in the morning, school detail. They go in, they check with the secretary, they check with the principal, anything going on, anything we need. Now, if there is maybe a drawn out investigation, something that's needed, like, hey, we have this pending issue with whether, we've had bullying, it's trending maybe towards there was an assault criminal or something along the lines of, we want to make sure that we're also understanding for the schools, here's where we should be interjecting ourselves and here's not. So again, I can just tell you from my past experience working in a bigger city prior to coming here, we had 2 full-time SROs in this high school of 2,400 kids and a part-time SRO daily for lunch. That's not the model we need in this town because we don't have that need. So again, I always like the idea of, we shouldn't be calling a police officer when a kid doesn't take their hoodie off in the class. We shouldn't be calling a police officer because somebody's chewing their gum and maybe gave a side eye to it. It's criminal matters, and that's where we want to help. But we also we understand, as the chief said, we wear a lot of hats. And as law enforcement now, we're also part-time social workers, we're coaches. So if we can interject and be good, hey, maybe we can steer that kid towards our cadet program, and that can turn around some of the things we're doing. So we do have a vested interest as well. And that is working and partnering with the kids. So in regards to seeing the police presence, you're not going to see a drop off. You may actually see more because again, Lindsay was in-house doing 12 other things on top of part of her role. One of Officer Sanchez's, she checks in daily. And if you guys need that, and again, on a side note, I talk with Dr. Tudrin 2 or 3 times a week. He knows that my phone is on 24/7 to run something by me. Like, hey, is this a police matter? Is it something you can help out with? And you're always going to get an officer regardless. We're attentive, and technically during your hours of work in your operation, we have the largest staffing of our agency during those times as well. So if something does necessitate a need, you're going to get an officer. That's our question. So there should be no concerns of a lack of police services. I can assure you of that. And again, if something does come across, I would expect a call from Dr. Tudrin or the principals as well. So that's kind of.
I was just gonna say, we really appreciate that. We've had a good relationship, so I'm glad to hear that will obviously continue to move forward.
the officers love coming in and checking in. And they really do. They like going to, they're not going to deal with an accident or people barking at each other or domestic. They get to see kids going into schools. That's a good day to start your day. And so we want to continue to encourage that. But just kind of like going back, first thing in the morning, their priority is get into the school, make sure, that's our most vulnerable and important resource in our town, right? I'm not being cliche. I'm a dad of two. That's our most important thing, checking in with the kids. So that's why we're going to go with that. And then, hopefully, as the chief said, when we get that staffing up and collective bargaining passes to the point where we have a suitable number of candidates to move forward, then, we reevaluate that and we make sure it's functioning as a partnership. Because this person is also embedded with you folks. You would be seeing that officer technically more than we would during the Monday through Friday. So we want the right person for the right seat.
And we'll identify that in the coming year. We'll do that long before, so you guys will know hopefully by next summer, because that's when the training happens, of who you would have in schools, if you guys are okay with that. So that's basically it. I wanted to thank you guys for bringing us to the front. We were prepared to sit here through the entire, never said a word, because we sit through the board of selectmen meetings and we're always last. And when we go to executive session, we're always last there too. The last thing, if you don't have any questions, I'm assuring you that this will not affect our ability to beat the kids in basketball. So, and you can let them know that. I don't know if anyone's online. But if anybody online has questions or here, we're here to answer them.
We're gonna keep you out of the gyms though. Restrict that access to those points.
Does anybody, do any of you have any questions? And then I can check with Noreen and Courtney as well.
I just want to be clear. So the program will intentionally start in January with the new officer that you have, or Officer Sampson.
No, it'll be a 1 year.
I can't put anybody, even if we try to do something now, the earliest I can put somebody in there is in January. So we're suspending it for the 25-26 school year, and we're looking to start up and off. We'll identify somebody before the end of your school year next year. So in the summertime,
Yeah.
they'll be able to work through the programs, but I want to start the SRO program. And the school year starting I think you guys start in August of 26, right? Yes.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, go ahead.
Ideally, one thing I would like to see, and this again, so, full disclosure, right now, our administration is in open, negotiations with our collective bargaining. One thing I would like to see with special assignments is when we do onboard a new SRO, they come in with a freshman class, they graduate with that class. So they built that relationship. So they know like those kids intimately in and out, and they build that relationship with that officer. So that's ideally, I think, would be the way we could go. So, we just don't yank someone senior year like, oh, I fell in love with Officer Smith. Well, now you got Officer Jones. And so, but ideally, but yes, but again, just to reiterate, you are going to see officers on a regular basis. That's going to be it's not only expected from their commanders and their bosses on the road, but it's going to be initiated. Like they're going to be signing in through dispatch, and we'll actually have numbers to quantify and to qualify that at the end of the year. So if anyone says, well, we didn't know if we saw officers, well, no, we have a check and dispatch. They did XYZ this many times, and, obviously following through when we need to as well.
Courtney or Noreen, do you have any questions regarding this?
Kate, I have one question. How does this affect the DARE program? Are we gonna put a hold on the DARE program?
I'm actually glad you brought that up. So this summer, Officer Sanchez is being taught, is going to get the instruction to be there, and we're going to continue that program with her in this next year. So that program will not be interrupted.
Okay. And just, I appreciate that you're going to send the officers in the morning. I'm not personally sure about the high school and the middle school, but I do know that a lot of times I'm at the Broadbrook School bringing my granddaughter, and the kids really just like to see the police officers. They get kind of excited about, oh, the police officers here. And I just think it's a great way for our little children to get used to that as a normal part of their life in school. So thank you.
We couldn't agree with you more, and thank you for your support.
Courtney, did you have a question or anything, or are you all set?
Nope, I'm all set. Betsy actually asked a similar question that I had, so it was answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, everybody good? Thank you very much.
Thank you for elevating us. Like I said, we're gonna back up out now because we're here to stay.
Welcome.
Appreciate that. Enjoy your vacation. Have a safe summer. I'm sure we'll see a lot of folks around.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
They both did volunteer to come once they knew that was going to be on tonight's agenda, so.
Those pretty good guys. They're good people. We're very lucky. We're very, they have a great.
All right, next on the agenda, we have a few sets of minutes. So we have the minutes from June 11th, our regular meeting minutes. If I could have a motion to,
Make a motion to approve the June 11th regular meeting minutes.
all right, so, motion made by Heather and second from Denise. Did anybody have any, discussion or any edits to June 11th meeting minutes? Further comment? All right, everyone in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's June 11th, regular meeting minutes passes.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 17th, 2025, special meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
All right, so Heather made the motion and Betsy seconded for the June 17th meeting minutes. Are there any changes or edits? All right, with no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passed.
Abstain.
Kate, I abstain.
Denise is gonna
I wasn't
abstain
at
and
the meeting.
Noreen. You're gonna abstain from June 17th?
Yeah, I was not at that meeting.
Okay.
All right, and were you guys both set with June 11th?
Oh, I was, yeah.
Yes.
All right, sorry, I will check again. All right, and then we have July 9th, special meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the July 9th.
All right, so motion made by Denise and seconded by
Gabby.
Gabby. Any further discussion on the July 9th ones? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstaining? Any opposed? All right, those pass as well. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, we have public participation, but I don't think at this time that we have any public. I think the ones online are AI note takers and there's someone else here, so we will move along. Next, we have our list of upcoming meeting and events. At the bottom of the first page, we have the August 5th National Night Out, 5 p.m. up at the reservoir. Are we gonna have a table?
We are. So one of my questions was, and you don't have to know now, but if anyone's interested in joining and being at the table on that night, just email myself or Jessica. I know we have administrators that will be there as well. They've already indicated who will be, and I can't recall who is here that day and who's not, but I know we do have a number of administrators that will be in attendance that day.
Okay, the most important question is, will there be popsicles?
Yes. Yeah. Nope. Definitely.
Okay, and then August 6th is the next ad hoc committee meeting on the school renovation and planning at Town Hall at 6 p.m. And then August 20th is convocation. Did you want to speak to that? I know sometimes some people have.
Absolutely. Plus, we have a little change with it. So we changed it up this year. And speaking with the principals, they really wanted the opportunity to start off the new school year with a faculty meeting. So they're starting off in the morning with their faculty meeting, and then we're transitioning into a district-wide convocation. And then rather than breakfast, we'll have a district-wide lunch. I know it indicates, I believe 9:45. Honestly, we anticipate it'll probably start closer to 10, and then immediately after we'll transition to lunch. So any board member that would like to attend convocation is more than welcome. We'd love to have you, and certainly you're more than welcome to stay with lunch with staff as well too.
And you want us to email you if we're going to withdraw?
Okay, email Jessica.
Yep.
Thanks.
All right, so email Jessica if you would like to attend convocation. And then August 21st, there's a kindergarten open house. August 26th, we're talking about the first day of school again already, which I'm not ready to be talking about for grades K through 12. And then August 27th is a Board of Ed regular meeting. So would that be our next regular meeting that's on the
That's your
schedule?
August meeting.
That's our August meeting.
Once you transition in September, you're back to, the 2 a month.
Okay, did anybody have any questions or anything else on the upcoming meetings and events?
Courtney here. I'm gonna be going to Maine from the 3rd to the 6th, so I'm actually not gonna be making that ad hoc meeting, Denise.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda, we have a personnel report. I know this was a little bit robust with the summer and just a lot of different summer appointments. Was there anything you wanted to speak to specifically, or is it just, there's a lot of, I think we said summer appointments or, the summer enrichment camp is on there. There's some different things.
Yeah, nothing in particular. I mean, it's typical this time of the year. And then when you receive the one in August and maybe even in September, I mean, you'll see something pretty similar. And then the personnel reports will slow down once we're back into the full school year.
Did anybody have any questions?
I had, yeah, oh, good, I'm sorry. No, I was just wondering about is that more than usual, the para-ed too?
Or summer school?
Is it for summer? I guess it's for summer school, yeah? No, probably not, right?
Not for summer school, not for to support the.
So this is just, these are some teachers that are in the system and others that are not teachers, and paraeducators. Are they all part of the school system or they're?
They are.
Okay.
Very on rare occasions do we have do we not have enough internal interest where we have to go outside? I think it's been a number of years. When I was director of special ed, I think it happened 2 or 3 out of like whatever it was, the 8 years.
Okay.
Often, we have enough internal interest.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My question was a lot of, but not paras. It was resignations. Is that an unusually high number of resignations?
Is there any particular category or just in general?
Well, it's not really a category. It says resignations and retirements and it's.
No, I didn't know like pairs, teachers or.
No, I'm just wondering, it seems like a lot of resignations and retirements. Is that usual, like at the end of a school year to have that many?
It can vary. I mean, looking at the names, I can tell you, so for pairs and tutors, it's pretty common. So you do have a number of pairs and tutors. I can tell you just even looking at, some of these names, we have, some that are moving, like, a couple of them got, their license for sure and teaching. So they're moving and looking for teaching jobs. We have some that are going back to school to pursue, actually one's, going into a program, to become a social worker. You did have a couple retirements, actually several retirements, which are a little bit higher than normal for us, since I've been superintendent. And then, when all that's done, it's about normal.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing 5 retirements and we knew a couple of them were potentially coming. This and Wendy Gage, we knew these, yeah.
Maybe a silly question. What does ESY mean?
So that's extended school year. So that's summer program, and specifically for special education.
All of those people that are listed under certified related services and paras are just for the summer program?
If it says ESY, yes.
Okay.
But a lot of them are in our system as well. They were just, it's just saying that they're for the.
Essentially, it's a summer position only.
Yeah, so they were just appointed for, there's just like something.
And depending on the program, it runs 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay. Do we have any open positions based off of the resignations and retirements? It looks like.
Yes, but, we're well into, the hiring process. So there's only one position that comes to mind that there's not someone, that's been referred to a final interview or who's in like the hiring process. So there's a grade 1 elementary, teaching position open.
And do we do exit interviews with
Do.
all of these?
We do.
students? Have you noticed any themes? And do you think any of the resignations were related to the budgetary concerns this past year?
Not, I mean, looking at the list, I don't believe anyone was related to, the budgetary. I could say a possible one, just because I know they left, teaching altogether. Um, um, so, but not, but I do know that they, spoke very favorably, regarding their experience here. And, they came from a previous district as well. And in comparison, rated us much higher. I can't tell you for certain if that, being a new hire, veteran teacher, if that played a part of it or not. But most of these people, it was either retirement or really career or education advancement or change of life situation. There's another one that became a stay-home mom after just having a child. So, I mean, our
All right. Okay, next on the agenda, we have old business for a vote, and this is concerning the FY 2026 budget. Ryan, do you want to speak to this? I think we're just voting on it.
Yeah.
Number,
maybe a little
we have an update.
background. I mean, I put a little memo with it just to kind of give a little bit of background on it. Essentially, I want to say finalize the numbers, but actually hard post the numbers in Munis just because kind of in good news, we're actually quite ahead of where we were last year as far as like the new year items. So we have a number of departments who are, putting in POs already. They're looking to order, they're looking to get ready for the new year. So it's kind of hard to do that if I'm running a report that doesn't have numbers in it. And then the other part of that is kind of finalizing what I had on some of the lines for the employees. I mean, obviously we'll have some changes as the year goes on. But I don't want to keep like going back and forth and updating, every other day if something's changing. So I said, this is what we're going with. This was our our best assumption for the year. That way it's posted in there. I did write in there just to keep in mind the way that I had to post it because it doesn't officially roll to the current year, if you will, in Munis until September, around when the audit completes. So as far as that goes, some of the numbers I had to run it as like a year-to-date report. So you might see like weird encumbrances and things. That's again, like they're all already being worked on. Those will kind of flesh out in the next finance subcommittee, the next Board of Ed meeting. You'll start to see that. It was more just to get the budget numbers in there and like the actual account lines in there. So I kind of tried to speak to that to like kind of ignore that part for now. Like if you see like an available budget that's way out of whack or something, that will get adjusted. And then I know in the coming weeks, in the business office, we're going to be posting the final teacher encumbrances. So in years past, we haven't really had it encumbered till almost after the first week of school. So we should have that ahead of time. So we'll be able to post that. You guys will see like the encumbrances versus what we had budgeted. And then we'll be able to, kind of hit the ground running this year, hopefully. I don't know if anyone has any specific questions. Again, a lot of the tweaks I had done, we kind of adjusted electricity a little bit. I updated with the most recent medical projections from One Digital, who's our kind of our contractor that we have that helps with projections for medical. As usual, there's plenty of special ed changes, so I made a couple little tweaks there. I updated the 2% usage number just based on our year-end figures for FY25. I'll be able to give you guys those numbers at the next Board of Ed Finance Subcommittee meeting. I can say in like good news, there's no open encumbrances. As best we know, there's no outstanding invoices right now. We're actually following up with a number of the vendors that normally take a little bit to get us our final invoices. So everything's looking good there. So hopefully we'll have some more detailed reports for you guys in the coming meeting.
Noreen, did you have anything in particular that you wanted to mention or preface this with in terms of, I know that we didn't, there was a decision made not to have a finance subcommittee because it was decided it would make more sense to kind of have this discussion with the whole board and let people know.
Yeah, I spoke with Ryan last week, or the week before, I don't remember, about doing getting these numbers finalized to the best that we could so that he can get moving. The problem is if, you know, he needs a vote for us to say these are the numbers that we're starting with. They can always be amended afterwards through transfers or whatnot. But in order for him to get moving and get things at its starting point, I thought it was important to get this part done. And then next month, we'll deal with last year because he's still trying to flush a lot of that out. I did run through all of these numbers against what we had anticipated with our initial budget recommendations, or what we had come out with on our budget. And there are obviously tweaks because that happens. Some special eds, but we had some savings. So, you know, I'm comfortable with these numbers to be the starting point, so that Ryan can start moving forward with this as our starting point. And then yeah, that's about it.
Did you have something? Pat?
I do, just some additional information. We did have after this financial report went out, we did have wasn't residency hearing, but it was a hearing with folks from the State Department, and also attended by the Attorney General regarding residency that we had contested. I had shared it some months ago with the board, but it took a while for finally to get the hearing scheduled. They have been rescheduled several times. But unfortunately, it did not rule in our favor. In speaking with the Attorney General, I mean, directly behind closed doors, he stated that that no way he was going to rule, regardless if the ruling was grounded in law, against like the finding from the state. So this had to do with a student that does not reside in East Windsor and not resided in East Windsor for the last few years, in which the financial burden for special ed programming was being placed on us. We would still contest it if we could. So we don't know the financial impact of that. We do anticipate it may be significant. So we will be finding that out in the coming weeks to kind of just safeguard the overall budget. We did do a pause on open vacancy for a special ed teacher. The caseload is low. So though not ideal, we would be in compliance with if we had to eliminate the position. We're not quite there yet because, as Ryan said, you know, we are doing encumbrances and posting with teacher salaries, and a number of the teachers that are coming in lower than what we budgeted. So that's all positive, but without really knowing what the cost of this program is, we are just being very slow and methodical. And again, we may have the finances to move forward with that position, which would be ideal, but we also want to make sure that we protect ourselves too. So this is all recent in the last couple of days. So I don't have any numbers, but we're working on it.
I just have a question, Kate. Patrick, thank you, and thank you for, keeping us updated.
Yeah, it's not going to be reflected in that. It was
Yeah,
after.
no, but at least we kind of have an update
Yeah.
of what potentially. I appreciate that. I have a question on page 4. It's just like a crazy question. It's on page 4. There's a page 4 and then there's a 16. I don't know. The two. And it's CO operations salary. What is CO operations? What is that category?
So that's where we had kind of condensed some of the salaries of
Central office.
Oh, central.
Oh, sorry, I
Okay.
was gonna say.
Okay.
We have a number of people who kind of had I don't want to say their individual salaries out there, but they were
Okay.
kind of all over. So we figured it makes more sense to condense them into one cost.
Got it. Okay, thank you. I just couldn't understand.
No, sorry, I thought, yeah.
No, that's okay. That's all right.
And again, not that it doesn't fit in, they give you a number of
Characters.
characters. So yeah.
This is fun. I know that. I know. On page 9, the other one was, I see that we have 30,000 in McKinney-Vento. I thought that grant had subsided and that we did not reapply and we don't have that money. Is that?
So that's just local money that we had budgeted.
Okay, so that's not from the state, that's just money.
That was, yeah, because in the previous year, we kept getting hit. We weren't budgeting anything in the local. And then, you know, one year it was very,
And you still
I
had
want
to
to say
do it.
minimal, then it was high. So we tried to kind of split the difference and,
Okay,
you know, hopefully
okay, so this is not the grant, this is just what.
that's
our
just the
portion.
local.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you. That's all.
Yeah, so like at the very bottom, like the actual overall number is like the number that was approved by
Yeah.
the town, and then this would essentially be kind of like the allocation of that. And
Okay,
like Noreen said, it'll change.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
we get all the encumbrances in there,
yeah,
and like the actual finalized numbers, I can start to take a look and give you an
Okay.
idea of where we are on that.
Yeah.
But like they said, just to get it going, just so we can start hitting
Yes,
lines.
got it.
and-
Yep. thank you.
We're voting on just the number. We're not voting on the language.
No, you're
It's the whole budget, right?
voting on the whole budget.
Yeah,
proposal.
voting on the
The total number is already what's been approved by the Board of Finance. That number is.
Now we're just kind of doing. a line,
Where
right?
we divide
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Getting it
basically,
set.
instead of
Yeah.
like surprising you guys in a month and
Yeah.
saying, this is where I moved stuff from the
Yeah.
last time you saw it. It was to basically say, this is, you know, our best guess as of, you know, today, essentially.
Yeah.
And then as the year goes on, we'll start doing our transfers and, you know, projections and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, to clarify too, so it's been past practice of the board to vote on the allocations to the account lines. It's not part of policy, it's not part of legislation, but it's been part of past practice, since I've been here and since I can remember.
Well, it gives us a map, Patrick, and, you know, we certainly have a process for moving things around, so.
So Noreen, did you have a motion in particular or?
Well, just, I did a couple things. I just, as far as, yes, I have a motion in my mind. And it's important that we kind of vote that on these line items as they stand right now, because it is our beginning point. And from that point on, if we have to make major changes that are over the thresholds for within our policies, we need to do transfers on those. So we essentially are voting on our starting point, so that Ryan can get Munis set up, and then we go through the year appropriately doing it with transfers or whatnot. And then the other thing is just that I just wanted to say we're only voting on our local money. That's all we control. The state money and the federal money are in different pockets, and those are lined out by how that money is allocated to us from those agencies. So once Ryan's got those down and completed, then those are the pages that are usually on the back of all of the financials. This is solely our local funds that our taxpayers are giving to us. The McKinney-Vento, Betsy, that you were talking about, if we were to
Yeah.
get McKinney-Vento money, that would be showing up in grants from the
Yeah.
state or the feds or whoever they come from in separate reporting categories. This is solely local money.
Okay.
So
Does anybody else have any other questions on this side?
So I have a question. So what was in our packet is what you have it as right now?
Like what you guys got.
Yes.
We got
Yeah.
what we got in our packet, which is what
Yes.
we're voting on,
Yes.
is exactly what you still have.
Yes, I basically said like, I'm not gonna make any more changes to it. That's what I posted just so we could start hitting things. Once you guys approve it, I can kind of like do a soft post, if you will. And then as the year progresses, once you start to see the encumbrances, once, like, 'cause again, this is almost like a projection. It's an import into Munis. Like the grants, once those start to populate, I can start to set up like the job salaries, if you will. So you'll see those on the grant funds, you'll see the FRC funds, food service that you normally see, that those will all be in there once we start populating it. But yes, as of now, what you guys have is what I have.
Noreen, do you want to make the motion?
I can. I would make a motion to approve the local budget of, let me see if I can read this. Is it 28,860?
861, yes.
Yeah, $28,861,943 as presented in the line items on the Munis report dated What's the date on this, Ryan?
7/18.
Yeah, it says July
7/18.
18th on the top.
Yes, 7/18/2025.
Second. All right, so Noreen made the motion and Heather seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And Noreen and Courtney, are you in favor?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, all in favor. Thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate that vote to kind of get that squared away and taken care of. All right. Next on the agenda, under new business for discussion, we need to schedule a special meeting for our board self-evaluation and then reviewing and revising board goals. I forget, have we done, I feel like,
We talked about this being an agenda item, like in April or May, and because it was so busy, budget referendums, we kept postponing this. Certain times you've done it individual, like collectively as a group, and sometimes you've brought a facilitator in. So I think.
and I don't know if we need one or two different nights in terms of,
And I think one question is, are you comfortable like reviewing your goal? Certainly, like I could bring those. Do you find it helpful to have a facilitator? I would defer to like obviously the board as a group since it's.
Last time we didn't have one, right?
Justin ran.
I think it was just us, yeah.
No, it was Justin.
It's Justin. Oh, Justin.
He did help us with part of it, and then I think we came back and did part of it by ourselves, right? Is
Yeah.
that what-
I think so.
Yeah, pretty sure.
The only thing about an outside facilitator is that it gives everyone a chance to really participate.
Otherwise,
That-
somebody's
that's-
a note taker.
If you're the note taking and you're trying to kind of facilitate the process, it's difficult to be that person and then participate fully. So that would be the only reason that I would say that, a facilitator might help us.
So why don't we just put this on the next agenda item? In the meantime, I can come and present some options.
Okay.
are people thinking like it would be now, obviously, if the next agenda is not until late August, like, are we thinking we would do this in September, hopefully, or September, October at this
Yeah,
point?
I mean, I could also email too. So like if you had dates, or if you, so I'll defer to.
I honestly will not know what my fall schedule looks like yet because I don't have sports schedules,
No,
so
I guess my question was,
commit.
were you looking to meet prior to September on this? If you were, then, I would.
No, honestly.
Yeah, so is that the consensus from the board?
People are away.
So,
Okay, I just wanted to check if we're fine with like Patrick can gather some information. Yeah, go ahead, Noreen.
I'm reading it and I'm just saying the board self-evaluation, that's kind of, I think, and I could be completely off base here. That's us evaluating how we did on our goals from last year, correct?
Yes.
And then, reviewing and revising the board goals, that would be for coming up, right? Like,
Yep.
our new thing, and my thought is that there's gonna be a change on the board. So is it better that we just evaluate how we did last year and then have the resetting of the new goals once the new, whatever the new board looks like in November, tackle that then?
My only concern is that is if it impacts Patrick's goal setting. I do see where you're coming from,
Yeah.
Noreen. Does it impact, like with the timing impact your own goal setting?
I mean, I think the two parts that you could do, is the self-evaluation is part of policy. Like we did an additional one. We could just mimic what we did, share the results, and then you have goals. It's not like you don't have goals, and then we can bring forward the goals and see if you want to make revisions, and then that would be a solid point to move. And then as far as like a communication plan or anything else, that could wait, I think, anyways, because the strategic plan is set to expire. We've really accomplished a lot. It really is appropriate time to start, and that work will start after January as well too. So, it may be appropriate as far as to wait till that strategic plan is updated before developing communication plan. If there's changes with the board, that can wait till. But I do think like, I
Yeah, I think we
personally,
need to do ourselves.
Yeah, I think personally, we could get that out to you to do the self-eval, bring that information forward in a special meeting, bring your goals and, I mean, less people are thinking there are significant changes, that may be made to the goals. You could just revise them, you know. So,
New board coming on.
Yep.
So along the same kind of lines that Noreen was talking about, I was thinking about the new members that will be coming on. And one of our goals, if I remember correctly, was to have some kind of onboarding document. I remember I had picked up some stuff from Vernon.
Jessica and I are working on that right now.
We're working on cause I just said that to Jessica before the meeting too, as far as like the, board, sorry, I'm just.
So that was one of our goals.
Yeah,
So I would like to get a copy of our goals, like sooner rather than later, so we can look at them and just say,
So I
geez,
could
there's
send
stuff.
it
we
out
can-"
together. So I could send a copy of the goals and then I could send out, like a self-evaluation and then, give the board time to do both.
Think about it.
That's not a bad idea, Patrick.
Yeah.
And I think on the CAVE website, there is an evaluation already in place for board members to evaluate.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. So if people get to do that, that means if you're not necessarily at the meeting, you still have input and it can just be aggregated and then shared overall and discussed.
That's what we did too. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like,
Yeah.
Like this board member said, it just took the
Yeah,
collective.
everybody.
response and just reported it.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
all right, so we'll work on that, like the board member handbook and getting the goals out and the self-evaluation, so that can be put in that as well. And then I agree, I think the board communication plan, it would make sense to kind of wait to see what's happening next with the strategic plan as well as with the ad hoc school renovation, because I know we've talked about the communication plan with that as well. And I think even though it may have its own separate one, the board, may have part of that as well in terms of making sure that board members know what and when to share about that type of information. And again, if we're going to try to be at different if board members are going to try to be at different events to talk to people about that, what's going on, that could be part of the communication plan as well. So it probably makes sense.
Another goal was, reaching out to the community. How did a year go by?
We haven't really had the correct information to read.
Mhm.
We thought that.
Not for that, but for in general.
For like, I can't go bring information to the community about school renovations when I don't have. all
We don't
the
have
information.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of.
Well, we did hold, so the board did hold a public meeting though regarding facilities and stuff.
Right.
So there were one or two, I believe there was two public meetings on the board, at least one.
There was a.
Yeah, no, we had the public meetings, but we were also talking about going to like the senior center, finding lines meetings or like something like that to go to. And I know that we.
By the time maybe, or just good news kind of thing.
Yeah, and even in general, if it's not about that project, yeah, like explaining how the budget works or explaining how, like you said, good news or that type of thing. And I think that's one of the things that kind of had fallen off and it's hard to get it in people's schedules. So it might be something to reevaluate how the board wants to commit to that. All right, so I think we're good on next steps for that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, now under new business for a vote, there's a number of job descriptions here. Did you want to speak to those? Do they all need to go?
I mean, they just,
The first one?
typically, they only go on once. Certainly if the board wants more time and want, we can, bring them forward. I can just tell you they're just being updated based on like current operations. So, over time we've been trying to update our job descriptions. So this was a batch, that, we were able to complete and bring forward today.
One, as one.
Yep.
Did anybody have questions about any of them in particular? I know, what is it, like 3 of them were related to custodian or school maintainers. Then there's a paraeducator. The rest of them were all related to paraeducators. So there are kind of 2 different groups there.
I don't have a question about the actual job description, but I was just wondering, do you ever put, salary range in the job
We
description?
do, so, because they're all collective bargaining, we reference, the collective bargaining. I would tell you, one of the drafts, we did have a salary, the range, but then we talked about, well, you update you update the contract and you constantly update the job description. So we listed collective bargaining, but when we do post, we actually, whatever the salary is at that time, the range from the first step to the top step, we put that range in the job posting that goes out.
Patrick, I just have a question about the para ones. They've got in there now the categories, the cat 1, cat 2, cat 3s, and
Yes.
those all fall in with what we were doing with that contract, right?
Correct. Yep. And
Okay.
Daryl and I have been in close communication regarding that as well too.
Okay, that's fine. That was it.
Courtney, did you have any questions?
No,
All right. Would it be easier to do them in 2 batches in terms of like the custodian ones and then the paras, or is it fine to just do them all?
You could just do both, say, accept the job descriptions as what's in the packet.
Want to get a motion to accept the job discrimination descriptions as listed in the packet 1 through 8.
All right, so Carrie made a motion and Heather seconded to accept those job descriptions, approve them. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Noreen, did you say aye as well?
I
Okay, so, sorry, approved unanimously and motion passes. Okay, all right, next we have, school renovation project update. I think you have some updates.
Yeah, so Denise and I spoke and we put this on just to kind of recap the last ad hoc facilities meeting. If you want, Denise, I can give my first stab and you can interject
And I've got
if that works.
some notes as well.
Perfect. So I'm going to work like long term and then short term. So the general consensus was just based on where the current projects are and current status is. And again, there was no votes or anything, but general consensus I took away was adjusting the referendum date to September of 2026. I know initially when we went on this path and we knew it was aggressive, we were looking at this upcoming September based on like where we are and still the amount of unknowns. Obviously, that's not realistic. And then when you take into account the best time to engage public outside of general elections and budget time, that really is the best date. Therefore, the grant application would be submitted in June of 2026. And that would be right after the short legislation session, which ends in mid-May 2026. So on the positive, we'd have the short session. We would know the outcome of any possible space waivers and additional reimbursement rates. If there were any, working with our local legislators, we would have all the financial information as far as what was affordable and doable in time to submit the grant application that would then go to referendum. That was my kind of takeaways for general consensus. Certainly that's long term. There was also some short term for short term. It was discussed about meeting local legislators. I can tell you myself, Denise, Jason, are meeting with local legislators tomorrow.
CSG.
And CSG, thank you. Yes, very important that they're there. Just to get it, so, and we, CSG has put together, information, financial and where we are in the process. And really, my take on the meeting is really to get a sense of anticipated, like what can we anticipate for support in regards for our needs related to space, specifically for the middle school, high school project, along with, can we get assistance with the reimbursement rates? Obviously, coming out of that will also, I'm sure, guide some of the work. CSG has been, conversations, with myself and, Jason as far as working and having, a public meeting as far as giving the public an update where we are, gathering some input, around mid-September. So, Jason and myself do have to work together to provide some dates on that. They are also, GWWO, are, redoing, the estimated costs. Because if we're pushing it out a year, that would have escalation costs. So they'd have to update those costs. That's in the works. And they're also doing, part of the discussion came up. If we're not able to get the additional space waiver, if we're not able to get higher reimbursement rates, we cannot afford both projects. So then you're going to have to prioritize one project over the other. There's really good discussion as far as taking other things into consideration based on needs that may drive that discussion. So one of the things was the cost for the roof replacement for both Broadbrook and East Windsor High School. So if you did the elementary first, you're still on the hook for the roof at the high school. And also because it's our enrollment doesn't meet the square footage, it's going to be a very reduced rate. So that's something that definitely has to be in consideration. Also, if you did the elementary, you would lose the opportunity to like swing space versus you do the other project, then you have the middle school available for swing space when you do indeed need to do the elementary. Since then, I did have a question I thought of after, and I did ask GWWO is the structure of the elementary roof. So like in the renovating the new, one of the things I said was, well, if you replace the roof, are there any structural changes that would have to take place based on, and they had indicated, no, there might be additional support depending on the HVAC needs, but the actual, like based on the rooms and that there wouldn't have to be any modification to the roof. So there's a number of factors that would have to go in, but certainly also engaging the community about the priorities as well too. Should we get to that point. And then CSG is going to develop a presentation for community forum meetings. So they're going to develop a presentation to bring forward. I believe that would be to the ad hoc. I don't know if I read.
It was to the ad hoc,
Oh.
and I had asked them if they could, because they said, well, what do you want us to, we're not communicating, as you said, Carrie, we don't have anything to really communicate. So what kind of communication plan do you want? And I asked if they could possibly at least give us plans that they give us examples of what they've used in other towns, other communities that they've done this, so that we can start getting our head around what it is we need to do and when we need to start it. Because it just seems like all these pieces are all over the place and we're not getting anywhere. So that's where the communication piece, that's from your notes. Good notes.
Thank you. And so that was kind of like my summary recap. I know Denise said remember more about that last piece. I don't know if I'm missing anything else that comes to mind, Denise.
I don't think so. I did. I was looking on my phone because I have what we're supposed to talk about tomorrow. We insisted that Jim be there from CSG. We would not meet without him there. And I was looking at what Sam sent us today. I think it was today or yesterday, maybe.
I think it was yesterday. I replied today.
Did you see that she still has that it's the referendum is supposed to be this
I missed that.
September?
Yeah.
And that's what we're presenting to the,
Yeah, so she would need to revise that.
we're presenting to
This
tomorrow.
is too many.
Can we take her off the projects?
I had asked, yeah.
I mean, the town is paying money. Okay? They should be coming, you guys should not be having to set up meetings and do all that stuff. This is their job.
Yeah.
Very frustrating.
Well, one of the questions I had was even, based on, I think Courtney is the one that would realize
The
that
percentage was going the
the
wrong way.
percentage was going the wrong way and that there were inaccurate numbers on there. So I didn't know if that was revised. I would hate that if it's
It's a
I would
different
hate that to
presentation.
go in place.
Yeah.
But even that old one needs to be
it needs to be
revised,
revised.
because you don't want that to go out and be confusing to people afterwards. So
Yeah.
Yeah, even in the minutes of that meeting.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
needs to be
yeah,
updated.
that concerned me.
Yeah, there's nothing for tomorrow. That's the alarming thing. When I looked at it, I thought, am I wrong? Or didn't we say next
Oh, no, we
September?
did. And,
That's what she's got a timeline on here and it says this September. So, it's probably too late to,
to me, she's bringing it. So I think there's definitely, I replied today that I made additional requests. So in the 4-page presentation that she sent an email, it had the financial numbers for, it was just 2 financial
Yeah.
numbers. So I had asked for additional financial scenarios. So it wasn't just, she presented current status, like if there was no additional reimbursement for preschool with, the space waiver. So it was only one scenario for each school. And so what I wanted them to be able to see is the financial, like the different scenarios as far as cost. And obviously, like the impact they could have with them advocating. So I had responded and said, like, I'd like to see these additional ones added. But I missed the date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick, the other thing that I noticed, I mean, I was just sitting in the audience, is that we were sent the PowerPoint presentation. I didn't download it because I thought whatever will be presented is what I was looking at before. And that wasn't the case. So sitting in the audience, if you had the complete PowerPoint presentation, I didn't have it. I could not follow what was going on.
Well, she added, like, we all, all of us got something and then she added more at the meeting.
Yeah.
I believe Patrick had
Very
it out. It was a
detailed.
thinner.
Yes,
packet,
yes,
too.
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so we did make extras and we did have packets, but then they brought an additional supplement that we did not have prior. So we saw that at the same time. So we don't have the capabilities, obviously, in like real time to make copies on no, like if they give it to us ahead of time, we always have copies. We always have copies for the members and public. But there was the smaller packet that Heather's
And that's
referencing.
what she was speaking to. So it wasn't the overall.
I think that was the one they put on the projector too,
Yeah.
which obviously didn't match.
Exactly, Patrick. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah, that did not match.
Did this most recent information get sent to the ad hoc members or us
No.
yet or not yet?
No, you didn't get it yet. It's what we're gonna talk about with the legislators tomorrow. So it's not even, it's the information, it's pages from the information that the ad hoc committee has already had.
Yeah, it's not new information to you, Courtney. It's essentially a streamline of information to the state legislators.
Okay, thank you.
And Jessica reminded me too, any presentation, even if we've gotten it after the fact, it is posted on the school renovations project
Yeah,
website.
yeah.
So like even that presentation that you're referencing, it is.
Needs to be revised, definitely. Make sure it's
Well,
revised.
whatever's been presented.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not in there though.
So I guess that after tomorrow, maybe we will have some information. I just, to your point, Heather, we're paying these people a lot of money.
Mhm.
And they continue, and I think I may have said this at the ad hoc committee because it's been eating away at me. We continue to have them building 2 different buildings and we have to narrow it because it's costing us a lot of money. I'm sure. I don't know how much it is, but I'm sure it's costing a lot. We need to get to a point where we say, go for the high school. And it's this group, not the ad hoc committee, that needs to make that decision. And then we have to tell the ad hoc committee, okay, so you're building toward this path, whether it's both, whether it's one or the other.
I kind of thought we had already.
Yeah, I can have that.
And we
It was-
voted
I don't think we did a physical vote. I know we
did
talked
vote
about.
about, I think we voted.
On the end stat.
High school,
Yeah,
we
actually-
talked about it and we.
And it was
all kind of-
consensus.
It was a consensus.
It was not a vote and they need a vote.
I just
I
think it's,
guess because that was consensus, not
I
vote.
think it's frustrating because I feel like we talked about that a
I know.
long time ago and it was already decided that that's, if we need to take an official vote, like that's fine, but it was very much talked about. And we came to that consensus for all the a lot of reasons that you just said and more, that was the way to go. So I don't know why it's still going around.
Like I would make a suggestion, I'm not making a motion. I would make a suggestion that we just kind of all agree on the fact by vote that we go put our concentration on the middle school, high school. If there's money for us to be able to do two, obviously let's do that. But let's start to have them put some focus on just this one school based on the fact that that roof situation is gonna make it like you almost have to do it that way.
Well, then you would, because then what would happen is you'd still have to go, if you did the high school roof. And you'd have to go a special legislation to then.
I know, I just noticed the screen.
Just-
so
just like-
something happened. Is it
just
just the
happened.
screen or? Noreen, did we lose you?
Oh, I can see.
Okay, the screen went dark for a minute. We weren't sure if it was just a tech.
There was that discussion.
But it, yes.
We were all in the middle when they were talking about.
Yes, because then they said, oh, we didn't know that. So that, at that point, should have said, oh, at this point, we can hear what you're saying to us.
But it needs to be a
So
vote.
do we need to to have a vote on it to make it?
We had a meeting that was solely about this. It was on April
Yes, we did.
24th. And what we decided to do was that, we made it was a consensus that it would be a new high school, not a renovate to new. And the way the minutes actually read is a consensus was reached favoring new construction over a build to new approach for the middle school, high school. Recognizing potential financial constraints, the board agreed that if only one project could proceed, the middle high school would be the prioritized.
Yes.
To address concerns about the project timeline and progress, Denise was going to talk to Jim Giuliani. Kate was going to draft a letter to the Board of Selectmen about the money situation.
Yeah.
Because we were making the decision on the high school, middle school based on financial considerations.
Yep.
So
So should we formally vote?
And I think at one point we were waiting because we thought maybe with all the different reimbursements, if things pass, that we might, like Patrick was wondering if we would be able to do both, if like every single card fell in place, but I don't know that that's necessarily.
I
gonna
think we
happen.
still need to at least get the high school.
Yeah.
Narrow the scope to the high school,
Yeah.
what it has to be. And actually I don't know.
So whereas this was just listed on this agenda for an update, do we want to put it on the August 27th for a vote? And then we'll know what happened with the legislators.
When we
And
have our meeting tomorrow, maybe that'll clarify some things. Maybe
Yeah.
say there is no way at all that you're gonna get.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
they may say
whether
like
we-
this is doable.
Yeah, they may say,
because that's one of the reasons I think we were trying to figure out, like if every single thing fell in the right order, could we actually do both? But I'm happy to have it be put on the agenda. You guys will have met with ad hoc. There'll have been one more. I mean, you guys will have met with the legislators. There'll have been one more ad hoc committee meeting as well by the time we meet again on the 27th. And then if we, put it on our agenda with more information and then say, like if we need to take a vote.
so in the, presentation that was given to the ad hoc committee, it says to take action on the school construction program, options A, B, and C. It is, like the third or fourth page. Nope, just got, looks like this.
Yeah.
And it's got all three options, which we would want to, vote on. So I think if we have that as our guide for the next meeting, that we then say, we're voting on A, B, or C.
And Denise, could you tomorrow after the meeting between you or Patrick, maybe just send the board a summary, not for us to respond,
Sure.
but just for us to know, and then that way going into the ad hoc meeting, we can at least kind of have
Have an
an idea. of
Yeah.
What to anticipate.
We've not really seen numbers of like, I feel like every number is always at that low percentage, like maybe that's, I'm glad that Patrick asked for more different possible outcomes, because like, all we ever see is that big number, and then it's like, how do we know what that could even possibly be?
Well,
And well, and I don't think we had seen the estimates from GWWO until the last ad hoc meeting either. We didn't know like all the construction estimates. So it's hard to know like, A, how many reimbursement are we getting, and B, how much is it actually gonna cost? And then where does that fall?
Well, and the scenario too is, I mean, all indications, for the feedback they provided for the elementary school is, we're good on the space, so we don't need a space waiver for the elementary school, and we'll get the 15% on the entire project for early childhood because of our preschool programs. So we're looking at, I think it's like 76 point, maybe 68% for reimbursement. But the one that was provided shows a 61 percent. So we're confident that we're going to get the preschool, and we're confident that spaces, and why wouldn't we show that to our local legislators?
I thought one of the concerns was whether it was,
Double dip, right?
That's
Well,
a
not the
special
double
ed
dip.
one though.
but whether and I guess that's it, whether the special education or the preschool were in the areas that weren't being
Well, because
worked
they
on.
said to move the special ed to a different area.
And it was the special ed one that was in question, not the percentage.
So that was the only other thing that I didn't know if that was still up in the air.
And something that I thought of, because of what you said, Patrick, as far as the Broadlook roof is, if we do the high school and we get good reimbursement and we can get that done, at the same time, maybe we bond for the roof here so that that piece is done and we're not worrying about the sky is falling on this
Mhm.
the thing coming.
And it's less expense, and it would be more palatable 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line for
Because we've been putting it off and putting it off.
us to
Because
get
then the
this.
state would then be able to reimburse for other kinds of things that we need.
Correct.
Exactly. That's a good.
If we went here, if we did this first, we can't do the high school roof.
We can't do
We
it.
should be throwing the money away.
Yeah.
Also think, like engaging the public, they're seeing that Broadbrook is,
Starting to get renovated too.
it's something moving forward too.
Well, I think doing the high school also will just like retain students that are leaving from elementary to middle. And I think also it'll probably get people to kind of start going, oh my gosh, this is exciting. And then that next vote
Yes.
for the elementary will be
Right,
easier.
I just have another question. When you go, when you're talking to the legislator, the interpretation of special ed Patrick. So in that statute, I don't have it in front of me, but it was for special education, we're thinking at the high school. It is to expand or enhance, right? Special ed services. So I'm just thinking, can you ask that, can you kind of get a little more information on that? Just so that we're thinking if we have to enhance something in order to get that, that reimbursement, that we're starting to think about that.
The programs that we already
Yes,
off.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Just for,
Yeah,
Just in case, it's being proactive, that's.
I think, well, I mean, I anticipate they'll give us the interpretation when the bill was developed. I don't know if they'll, because I know it's really, DAS that's actually doing that now.
They were just starting to look at it.
Yeah, they said they would have something, so I will certainly ask, but
Just ask, and then just in the back of my mind is, like I said, as far as being proactive, what it might, if we had to enhance, what might that look like? We're not gonna do whole new programming, but we have a lot of programming in place, and we shouldn't be penalized if we can just enhance what we have.
Hey,
all right, yeah.
Well, this is more for Denise and Patrick. When you have the conversation tomorrow, we're at the meeting, I think it's really important that we need to pin the town down to a number. We went to the meeting and asked, and the number that they're saying we have capacity for to bond is somewhere between 35 million. Now, when you look at the high school, the way it stands right now with whatever they gave us, and I know some of it was wrong, that's gonna cost us like 45 million. Which we don't have $45 million to bond. But I don't know if that 35 million number is a proper number. So if we're gonna try to pin the legislators down, I think we need to pin the town down as well, because if the legislators can get us space waivers, can do all of this stuff, and it still only brings us to 42 million to do the high school, and we can only get 33 million, it kind of takes it off the table. So I would just like, if we're gonna try to get something from them, that we try to get something concrete from the town side too, as to what is our actual bonding capacity and how much of it can we have? Knowing that the police department wants renovations, the fire department wants renovations, we have roads we have to work on. Because, I'm looking at all of it just from purely a money standpoint, and I'm not seeing that we have the bond capacity to do the high school, middle school based on the numbers they're giving us and what we're being told from the town side. And that concerns me, because I don't personally want to go down that road to turn around and find out that, oh, we're $8 million short. There's no way we can do this.
Yeah.
Well, I think if we get like an idea from the legislator and we're somewhere in that range, we would have a better idea. If we're at 45 million, not, but I don't think that that's a super accurate number, because that was at like 54% reimbursement. And that's clearly, hopefully.
The numbers have to get,
Well,
between
that,
CSG and them, we got to get to a number. And CSG is not helping by having these variety of numbers and different scenarios that the percentage is going up, but the dollars are going up. It makes it very difficult to try to figure out where really are we. So I don't know if you guys can push Jason a little in the meeting tomorrow to try to get a number.
All right, thank you, Noreen. We appreciate that input. Okay. Thank you for that update, and hopefully we'll find out more tomorrow. Or at least let them know where things are at. Next on the agenda is liaison and subcommittee reports. I know summer's kind of a slower time. I don't know if people have any.
I think at the Board of Selectmen meeting last week, the went forward, and Denise, did we,
The what went forward?
CIP, didn't go forward?
Yes,
Got presented?
it was supposed to. I wasn't there.
Yeah, I wasn't there either, but I.
It did.
I did?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Adam spoke, as it pertained to the schools. He mentioned that unfortunately they had reduced I think it was the Broadbrook Elementary School asbestos, whatever monies they had there, they were bringing down to zero because of the discussion of new school renovations.
That was right.
That was right. Yeah, we had talked about that at our.
There were so many conversations that we had. I forget sometimes what actually went forward. But yes. Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you, Courtney.
I didn't.
Was there anything else in terms of Board of Selectmen that you wanted to report?
No, not in nothing that, would be relevant to our meeting.
Were there any other, obviously we just had the ad hoc and everything else, but is there anything else in terms of?
Board of Finance canceled their meeting, there was no meeting.
All right, again, public participation. We don't have any members of the public, so we'll just keep on moving.
Hey, sorry, can we go back a little bit? My mic was off. Athletics, this is more for Carrie, Patrick, and Courtney. I'm wondering if we want to maybe schedule a meeting in August, or do we want to wait until September? We haven't met for a while.
I was wondering if it's better to wait and get like a progress of what like fall sports are looking at. I don't know if that makes sense to you, Patrick.
It does, because sometimes you pick up participation too when kids enter in September, so, so if we had one like the second week of September, I think we'd have more information at that time.
Yeah.
That works for me.
that works for me as well.
Can you just shoot out like an email, Noreen, and with
Yeah.
like the date?
Yeah, I'll look at the date and
Okay,
send something out.
okay.
Okay. And next we have miscellaneous. Are there any other miscellaneous?
Oh, I'm sorry, I just have a question, Patrick, about miscellaneous, and it can be, moved to another meeting. But just looking at, the commissioner's report in terms of federal funds and what school systems statewide will be affected by some of the funds, which is, we don't have the after-school programming, but we certainly have professional development, right? And we have, I think, EL programs, right? English language learning programs. So what I'm wondering, the bottom line is, if you could kind of come back in September and tell us what your anticipation as far as effect on our system and, how we would handle some of those
I
things.
can answer some of it now.
Okay.
I actually was on commissioner's call with superintendents with an update on this section
Okay,
this morning.
good.
So they did say that Title I and IDEA, which is special ed,
Yeah.
that the state has received confirmation they are receiving those funds.
So those funds are coming down.
Alliance is actually, it's on the grant system, so we can see that. So between Title I, our special ed and Alliance, that's almost $1 million. We did get confirmation that money will be available. Some of it's available now, some of it will be available in the coming weeks
Okay,
in August. The money's still in question, I believe, is in Title II, Title III, and Title IV, which we don't have any Title III ELL funds, so that doesn't impact us, but we do have funds in Title II and Title IV. Do you know approximately what amount we have? I thought it was 60.
I think it says 60 in my head.
I had 64.
All right, so yeah, somewhere in that.
So
Weren't we gonna talk about that at the next meeting anyway, the August meeting, the impact of federal funds?
I'm sure it'll be part of finance subcommittee
some of
too.
them too, yeah.
So
It said we put it on a end of summer agenda, that they'd have more of an idea by then.
So I can tell you as of today, that's the update, and they don't have any additional information on Title II, III, or IV. So that is the update as of today.
So between 2, 3, and 4, we're looking at $64,000.
You know, what we'll do is we'll confirm, I'll send an email out to the entire board.
Okay.
I mean, that's not as bad as some
not
other.
terrible.
So that's all the tutoring and all the professional development.
Well, I think there's some in Title I too, but Title I, it's approximately 470,000, I want to say. Yeah.
Yeah,
So the bulk of it,
yeah.
I had put out a spreadsheet. I have it somewhere. And our Title II and Title IV, they had us at 76,000. That we were in jeopardy of losing. I'll send it to you. I think CCM did it. I remember it being 76,000 for those two, but I could be mistaken. But I'll send you what I saw.
Noreen, how do you find time to do all of those kinds of things? If you still have a full-time job and a life.
Yeah. I find things really easily. I don't know. It's
It's a talent.
yeah, but we can put an update on the next agenda as well.
And then did you have other miscellaneous?
I had one. Teacher negotiations are coming up, and reviewing, the Board of Ed members are on that committee. It's only Fran, with 3, vacancies. They do start from late August and they end by mid-October. But I would like to go forward and start to engage the teachers union to proactively get early dates. But before I can do so, I would need members. Sorry.
I'll do it, Patrick.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, I think I've
got it
been,
last time because I said we just finished. I'm not volunteering to do that again. Give me 2 years to relax. But I'll do it.
I'll do it too.
All right. Thank you.
It was
How many do we need? I mean, I'm interested in the teacher. I did the other, but I don't know how many people you need.
In the past, we had 4. You probably shouldn't have more than 4 because that creates a quorum. But 3 to 4 is
Okay.
And also, I mean, and by having four, if someone can't come, you still have three. It's a good number. So we adding you, Betsy.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. I'll send out separate correspondence to get some dates.
All right, did anybody else have any other miscellaneous? Okay, all right, and then we have other items in correspondence with the National Night Out flyer. Paraeducator Tutor of the Year, Superintendent of the Year nomination. Did you figure out that that wasn't?
I think we put the correspondence in. I'm actually not eligible, even though someone did nominate me, which I do appreciate. I wrote back to say I did not complete the application. They did confirm.
Has to be 5 years.
Yep.
So in a year or two, someone can nominate him, but it had to be at least 5 years. And
Well, it was deserved, even if you weren't.
there you go. And there's an update about the Broadbrook mural for the Book of the Year being put in there. And then an acceptance of a donation. And then number 7, I think kind of spoke to what we just talked
Right.
about a little bit, right? About the
And
grant.
since then, we had an update today on it.
So there was a little information in there too, Betsy, about that.
Okay.
Right up on the high school student was very nice.
Mhm.
Yep.
Really nice.
Yeah, and then the last one was the student off.
Yeah.
That's really nice. I don't know, I can check. Do we need to make a motion to go past 8:30 now that it's, or is it 9:00? Oh, okay, I thought it was later. Sometimes we start at 7.
Now you have me second guessing myself. I think 9:30.
We're like, we're not doing that yet. Let's not get over
No,
excited.
no.
All
I
right.
mean, unless we're gonna go another hour, but.
I'm hoping not.
Okay.
Let's all just say.
Yeah.
Like, no, that is not happening.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we're through our regular agenda now though, right?
Yes.
Are we good? Okay, so, I need a motion to go in executive session. Let me just say too, we can stop the recording, but Courtney and Noreen would stay on the meeting itself, right? That's what we need to do for, once we go into executive session.
And I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
We including Daryl?
Not for this one because those haven't been ratified. I have nurses and,
Okay, just if he was gonna be included.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion from Heather. We need a second. Second from Denise. All in favor of going to into executive session?
Aye.
All right, so we're going into executive session at 8:28.
but to your point, Denise, I anticipate that to be on the August one and I will be asking both Daryl and, Ryan to stay for that executive session.
I thought that's why you were hanging out here.
Nope, I'm ready to go.
The next one you said, right? Yeah, okay, all right, sorry.